So, you're a Lego guy. Yeah.
I'd say so.
How old were you when you first discovered Legos, and why do you feel you're still into Legos?
I was 5 when I first started, collecting Legos. This is the first Lego Star Wars set I ever got, in 2006. Lego V-Wing. Pretty simple, but brings back some fond memories. It was really the only toy I ever got growing up, or I was really ever interested in. Being able to recreate my favorite scenes from my favorite movies, and having some creativity and making all these battles like the one you see behind you.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't one you've ever seen in any of the movies, but it's a love letter to, one of my favorite franchises, and also one of my favorite toys. So yeah.
Awesome.
I first found my interest in Legos with my brother. He was really into it and he really introduced me to it. So I started with Star Wars Legos and then moved on to City Legos, which was very nice. And my interest kept up more with the video games and how it looks, and just more the creative side of it, as I would often within the City Legos sort of build my own things and play with different storylines, and my sister. It just was kind of fun.
I was around, I think, 5 or 6 when I got my first Lego set. My dad had gone back from a business trip, I think, and had gotten me Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, which I thought was really cool. But it was just something we could both do because I was a little too little to put it together myself. So my dad set it up at the table and I'd find all the pieces for him and he'd put it together with me. And now it's just something that is kind of a stress reliever almost. I come down to my basement, turn on TV, and just kind of space out while I build a Lego set, and it's kind of just like a quiet time for me.
Many people find Legos when they're younger kids, and that may lead people to believe that Lego's like a kid's toy. What do you have to say about that?
I disagree greatly. I still collect Legos to this day, and I'm 20. But there are a lot of people out there, whole YouTube channels dedicated to guys who are in their 30s who are still collecting this child's toy.
Yeah.
And Lego, at least from the beginning of the Star Wars line, has always released giant, bigger, collectible sets that are more meant for adults than meant for kids. These sets have no play features. They're just meant for display. And then, Lego had a line called Architecture where they had just buildings like the Sears Tower, or architecture buildings that were designed by the architect Frank Lloyd Wright were even put into Legos. So, it's not just meant for kids. It's meant for all ages.
I think it definitely could go both ways, because it's definitely a kid's toy. It's good for playing and enjoying, but it's also creative. You can build different things with it, sort of kind of artistic, with this Hobbit hole here. I think I don't normally play with it, but I think it's really it looks really cool. It's very pretty. It's very nicely done. It's very detailed. I think it can also be sort of a creative outlet rather than just a toy.
I think Lego's done a really good job in making sets for older people, like the Batwing from the 1989 Batman movie, which most kids don't know about, but older collectors and our parents would.
There are many Lego games like Lego Star Wars, Lego Marvel, and Lego Harry Potter that look more simple and quote-unquote youth-like. So do you think this adds to the idea that Legos are for kids?
I think the older Lego games were more aimed towards children, mainly because they were a little simpler in design because of the technology, but now with the new Star Wars games that are coming out, they've become more complex, and I think they're more for all ages.
I think it could, but I think people need to see it more as it's fun for all ages, where it's kid-friendly but can also be played by adults and anyone is allowed, so I think that's the nice thing about Legos, that everyone can play it.